grade 5, so I hope you are well. Today we are going to be doing social science, so I want you to get your social science books ready, meaning geography and history, as well as your textbook. Okay, now let's look on page 37. Follow with me. Physical features and human activities. Links between physical features, where people live, and what they do. Physical features have a lot to do with where people live. It is, for example, difficult to build a settlement on a steep or rocky mountain slope. Flat or gently sloping areas are easier to build on. Human activities are the things that people do. This includes working, going to school, fishing, or looking after children. The illustrations that follow show what the physical features of an area influence the kind of human activities that take place. So in the first picture there is a boy that's busy raising cattle, and this usually takes place in a grassy area. The second picture, crops are grown in fertile areas like valleys. So it's usually where the ground is really fertile. Okay, then picture number 3 on page 38. Houses can be built on gently sloping land or flat land. Okay, there's picture of houses. Then number 4, rocky coastlines like these are ideal for fishing. At picture number 4. Then picture number 5, beaches with rolling waves make ideal surfing spots. So there you can see a couple of people surfing and swimming in the ocean. Then picture 6, people use rivers to wash their clothes. So here you can see 2 people busy washing their clothes with some of the river water. And then picture 7, mountainous areas are popular among hikers. So where mountains are and easier to walk mountains, it is popular amongst hikers that likes to hike on the mountains. Then in picture number 8 is bananas grow well on coastal plains. So that is a coastal plain, and there bananas grow the best. Now we're going to look at activity 11 on page 37. Now the first thing you have to do is you need to copy the table. Now I think you have this table in your purple file. If you do not, you can just redraw. Then you're going to write the picture number 1 until 8. Then you're going to name the physical feature within the picture, and then what human activity takes place in the picture. Then at number 2, which of the places would you like to live in? And then why do you think this is a good place to live? And what other human activities could people do in a place like this? Okay, now let's have a look on page 40 at activity 12. Now this is a discussion activity, so I'm going to read the case study with you, and then you can just go ahead and have a look at the questions for me before we discuss it further in our Zoom session. So the Marico-Bosveld Dam, a dam on a river. The Northwest is a province that has a long dry season. It has some rain in summer, but the winters are dry. It is not uncommon for many of the rivers not to have water for much of the year. The Marico River has water all year round. About 80 years ago, people built the Marico-Bosveld Dam on this river. The dam wall is built across the Marico River. The wall holds the water back and stores it for the dry season. The land above the dam wall is flooded by water in the dam. Farmers grow crops and keep cattle around the dam. In the dry season, water is let out through special gates in the dam wall. This provides water for the farmers who live below the dam wall when they need it. Now let's have a look at history. On page 125, trade. It's a new unit. So let's quickly look at our keywords. Subsistence farmers. Farmers who produce just enough for themselves and their families to live on. And trade is the exchange of goods. African farmers did not live in isolation from one another. They knew where different chiefdoms were settled, even those that were far away. Good information about neighboring villages was valuable for trading, and villages exchanged goods with one another. African farming villages lived mainly as subsistence farmers. They grew their own crops and kept their own cattle, sheep, and goats. They also made some of the things themselves and some things for trade. For example, a village that existed in an area that was rich in iron ore produced iron tools. A village that existed in an area that was rich in copper produced jewelry. They then exchanged iron and copper goods for cattle with groups of people who lived in areas where there were no iron or copper ore. These people in turn traded some of the metal goods they received with the Khoikhoi in exchange for cattle. African farmers also traded metal tools with the sun in exchange for animals, furs and hides. So on the picture you can have a look. There is some of the tools that they made, as well as jewelry and cattle that they traded for various objects that they wanted from one another. Okay, now after we've read that, you can have a look at activity 10. So it's basically just to complete the sentences about trading, so you can use the above paragraph that I just read with you to answer these questions. Read with me on page 126. Religion, medicine and healing. Let's look at our new words. A healer is people who find out what the illness is and help the sick to get better. A herbalist is a person who uses plant medicine to cure illness. African farmers believed that when the body died, the soul lived on, but in a different form. They believed that the soul joined the spirit world as an ancestor who watched over humans. For this reason, old people were treated with great respect. They would soon be ancestors and would know what the ancestors wanted better than the younger people. Healers were special people who had long and careful training. A healer was chosen by the ancestors and received a spiritual calling. Healers were also called sangomas or nyangas. They had a close link with the ancestors. They found out what the illness was and helped people to get better. A healer was sometimes also a herbalist. Sometimes a healer just worked with the herbalist to treat patients using plant medicine. A herbalist had a deep knowledge of healing plants. Healers and herbalists in many African societies today still have the same practices and traditions as long ago. Now let's have a look at activity 11. So once again, you just need to complete the sentence about healers and medicine so you can get the answers from the paragraph that I just read for you. Then you need to please remember that you have a history test for today. I send a picture on WhatsApp so that you can just answer the questions on a separate piece of paper. Now that is all that you have to do for social science today. If you have any questions, remember you can WhatsApp me at any time, or you can leave your questions for our Zoom sessions. Good luck.